one client that has brought me back for 20 plus projects on his multiple properties that he has. It started off with some simple tile jobs for him. Then it turned into remodeling an entire house for him. And then another one turned into putting an addition on a house for him. Things just progressed. I built a good relationship with the homeowner, and each of those bigger projects, as time went on, there was always something I was presented with that I hadn't exactly done before. But
welcome to the special interview of our contractor experts. Today I'm super excited because I get to sit down with the one and only Jeremy Noble. He's a craftsman and general contractor of 10 years, specializing in finishing basements, remodeling bathrooms, and kitchens as well. And his reputation is spontaneous, I believe, because he has a gift and the purpose behind why he does what he does, which actually all started when he was just a kid. And you'll quickly find all those golden nuggets in this interview as well. So with no further ado, please welcome Jeremy Noble. Jeremy, welcome on, man. Happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's get right into it, man. Let's get into your story because there's a lot to learn from your success as well as your failures, especially for contractors just getting started or for those wanting to grow further in their business. So Jeremy, feel free to be open, man, and give the audience a little bit of context before we get into some of your success. So where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? And what are you doing today that's got you to where you're at? And then we'll get a little deeper into your story. So let's just start with, where did you grow up, man?
So I grew up in Mesa, Arizona. Family, 6 kids, three boys, 3 girls. Yeah, just enjoyed the Arizona heat there. Had a couple uncles who owned construction companies growing up, so I was around that quite a bit growing up. Yeah,
awesome.
That's
man.
where I grew up.
And how was it for you growing up in that environment? Like everyone's kind of doing their construction thing. How was it growing up in that?
So because my uncles on my mom's side owned their construction company, there was actually one year that we had an opportunity to spend our Christmas break in Mexico. Okay. And instead of going out and having like a normal Christmas, buying presents, things like that, we spent a few weeks down there building houses for people that didn't have a home. And I remember that experience, seeing the look on the people's faces that were about to receive this home that we built for them. There was just this sense of joy that was there, this kind of intangible value that money can't touch. And when I look back on really what got me into the construction field and building homes for homeowners, things like that, that's one of the big defining moments in my life of why I chose this field, was that experience that I had when I was 10 years old.
Wow, man, that's awesome. That's really deep. I actually didn't think it would be that deep, to be honest with you. No, that's really deep, man. I really like that. So walk me through how everything kind of started from the beginning before you even had a business. What were you doing?
So before I had a business, shortly, like so to kind of backtrack a little bit, back through my teenage years, had the opportunity to work for some of my uncles. I got some experience there, and some various people that my parents had relationships with that would flip houses, things like that. So as a teenager, I kind of got to get my hands dirty for a few years and start to learn different trades. Shortly after my wife and I got married, we were 20 years old. I got working for a general contractor in Spokane, Washington, where my wife is from, and had the opportunity to work for him, manage his company for a few years. But the feeling of working with him, it felt like the purpose behind his company was 100% money driven, which everybody likes to make money. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I feel kind of like it's a shallow why of why we're out doing the things that we do. So after a few years of working for him, I decided that I wanted to go open up my own company and take the skills, the knowledge that I had, and put them to the test and build my own successful construction company. And I believe that as we go through and do projects for homeowners, my company's slogan is turning houses into homes one project at a time. As we go through and add beautiful spaces to people's homes, it makes them feel more like home and a place that they can enjoy better time with family and friends. So
That's awesome, man. Wow, you really do have a deeper purpose than from what I've heard from the average cat. You know what I mean?
mhm.
I really like that, and I appreciate you sharing that, man. So let's backtrack a little bit to when you first started working for some of your uncles you mentioned, right? What were
Mhm.
some of the trades that you first remember getting your hands dirty with?
Let's see. Very first thing I remember doing was picking up a framing nail gun and um, being able to help frame up an addition on a house. There's lots of demolition involved on some remodels for houses, and yeah, I'd say that's kind of where it started for me. Was those were the first couple experiences I had in getting my hands dirty with construction, if you want to use that term.
Yeah. And what do you remember kind of experiencing? Do you remember like, did you think, oh, I hate this, or did you kind of fall in love with it at first, or what was like your experience as far as how you felt about doing it?
So that's a really good question, and I reflect on that often. I'm a person that loves to be moving all day. I love to work with my hands and build and create things, and I love teaching other people how to do the same thing. People that are hungry to learn how to all the various parts that go into building a home. So the feeling for me was, um, I guess you could probably call it a feeling of joy. Almost, it was something that I found purpose in. That felt like it felt genuine to my true self of like, who I am as a person. I'm someone that's very skilled with my hands and being able to create. So
Nice.
something I've always enjoyed doing since the first time I picked up a hammer.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And yeah, especially for someone that kind of enjoys, getting dirty in the dirt or whatever it is, moving and just getting stuff done. I'm sure it
Mm-hmm.
kind of matches well with your personality because you mentioned that, right?
Right.
Now, was there any things that like when you were first getting started in those trades that were there any things that you kind of didn't like?
Let's see. Things that I didn't like as far as like the actual work, there's very few things that I don't like in the construction field. Um, Plumbing's one of them. Not a fan.
Gotcha.
um, I'd say besides that, in running a company, part I had a hard time getting used to is the actual running the business side. All the paperwork, the meeting with the clients, the um, all the back end to of it that a lot of people don't see when it comes to putting projects together and making things happen.
Right. Just wearing all those different types of hats, sometimes even
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. Yeah, things can get stressful sometimes. And when do you remember that seed was planted for you to say, "Hey, I want to start my own thing"? How did it all start for you? I mean, after working for that general contractor that you mentioned, how did it all start?
Mm-hmm. Um, I think so. A couple different like answers to that question. One, I've always felt like never felt totally, I guess you could say maybe comfortable or felt like I belonged just as an employee.
Mhm.
Like I never felt like I was really being challenged to reach my potential, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just as being only a member of a team in a construction field. So that's just something that's always been inside of me. I don't know how to exactly where that came from. I guess that's just kind of how God made me that way. Um, as far as how like it really got started for me was just, as I took the time to see that that I had acquired some really amazing skills and being able to build homes, and having several years of managing a company and seeing how to actually run a business. Um, at that point, um, was when over the course of like 3-4 months, when I was working for that general contractor, I let him know, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go start my own thing, and build my own company. And I gave him 3-4 months to work with him to help him, replace myself, so I didn't just leave him hanging, and to keep a team around with him. And through that time, I had built some relationships with different realtors and investors and whatnot to line up some work, so I wasn't hanging dry right when I started. And really, from the start, things just instantly took off for me. Um,
Nice, man. I'm sure
yeah,
running his company kind of gave you some hands-on experience to what it would be like running your own thing, right?
yeah, very, very much so. I'd say a lot of it is very similar to what I do now. Just making sure that things run smoothly and operate well.
Nice, man. And when you told this general contractor that, hey, here's kind of like my 3 month notice, for you to get ready to find someone to replace me, how did he react to that?
Um, so him and I had a very good relationship. Um, throughout our years, we were always able to be open and honest with each other. Um, and when I brought it up to him one day, he wasn't surprised at all. He said, kind of like I mentioned to you earlier, that he could just tell that I wasn't going to be someone that stayed with him forever just because of how I operate. That I wasn't ever just going to be an employee. I think, I remember him mentioning something to me. He's like, I think I knew that you were going to be doing your own thing long before you did. It's kind of
Nice.
something that he mentioned to me from the beginning. Um, yeah, end of the day, super grateful for the experience with him and to be able to have the time,
Nice. And I'm sure
working with him and gaining more experience.
nice. And I'm sure you just kind of had that drive in you, and he saw that in you and almost saw it in you before you even saw it in yourself, right? That you just kind of knew you
Mm-hmm.
wanted something more, and he probably was able to tell very easy off the bat. So when you started doing your own thing, what do you remember that are like some of the difficulties that you kind of ran into at first? Because I'm sure everything from the start wasn't sunshine and rainbows, right? So talk
No.
a little bit about some of the difficulties you faced when you said, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing in business. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. So some of the difficulties, I think probably one of the biggest obstacles that I've learned is just how extremely well you have to communicate with homeowners
Mm,
to make sure that their expectations are the same as your expectations, that everybody's on the same page.
mm,
Um, I had various experiences where I felt like I had communicated well and homeowners thought they did as well, but really at that sometimes towards the end of a project, we weren't exactly on the same page, and it took some tough conversations and talking through things to figure things out. Um, and I've always been a person that is willing to go that extra mile to help figure things out when I have some fixing that needs done or whatever. Um, I'd say that's one, is just learning how much you have to communicate with homeowners and to really understand the vision that they have for their home and what their expectations are, and also letting them know your expectations as well, and being able to communicate like the vision that I have for them and their project as well. That would be one. Um, a second challenge would be um, finding good, reliable teammates, employees, whatever you want to call them. Um, it is a difficult thing in the construction industry to acquire good help. people, and then people that just want to consistently do honest work, and
Right.
own integrity day by day.
Right. I was
I would
actually,
say those are probably two biggest challenges. Yeah.
sorry to cut you off, but I was actually, this reminds me, I was talking to a contractor not too long ago, and he was telling me, he was like, Alex, sometimes it's harder to find the right employees than, the right customers. It's almost easier to find like the good customers than the good employees.
Yep.
And I feel like that's not just in the construction business. I feel like that's in almost any business. Sometimes it's really hard to find really good talent that's going to stick for a long time and be loyal to you. And obviously, the company has to do their part in keeping and retaining that team member, right?
Right.
So, what do you remember that was different from running the general contractors business to being on your own? But like, I'm sure it didn't feel the same, right? What do you remember being different from running a general contractor's business to your own business?
I would say one of the big differences is the freedom to create things the way you want to create it. Whether that's how you accomplish the project, how the team culture is, for the crews we put together, how we manage relationships with customers. That's probably the biggest difference, is just freedom to create how you want to. And then I would say it kind of goes back to my why that I said earlier, or like what's like the purpose behind the company is, I believe that we're turning houses into homes, one project at a time, as we build the dreams that homeowners have for their homes.
I love that, man. I love your slogan. I really do. I haven't heard something like that from anyone else. I'll be completely honest with you. I really do like what you have going as far as that goes.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And so go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the feeling of having that why behind it. Like, yeah, I enjoy making money building houses. It's everybody's got to make money in their job,
right?
Or their business. But it creates a totally different feeling behind it when you show up to someone's house and your purpose is different, rather than just trying to build something really quick to get some money out of them. I love at the end of projects when let's say I go and finish a basement for a homeowner, and I bring them down when I present the final product to them, and you just see this look of like joy on their faces of like, holy crap, you nailed it. It looks beautiful. And they're just, excited to have that space to go enjoy time with family and friends in it. That feeling, those experiences, like seeing homeowners that way and having that feeling behind it, wasn't there for me when I worked for the general contractor when I was starting out.
That's big, man. That is big right there. Yeah, I feel like because sometimes when you're under a business or you're kind of working for someone, you really don't care as much as the business owner himself. Am I right? Because as the business owner, like you said, you got that purpose, you got that why behind things, and that's kind of the accelerator to the vehicle. And in this case, the business being the vehicle, right? So I really like that you brought that up, because that's a really good point. Now, after going through some of those difficulties, like not having the right communication with clients or homeowners, and not kind of having like the full business owner experience to say that, oh, everything's going to work out well. It almost never does for anyone, right? What are some things that you would say that you learned after going through some of those difficulties that you still carry with you today?
Let's see. Some of the things that I learned was, one, to adapt my sales process, so that before a project even starts, I've ensured that the homeowners have really done their homework in figuring out what they want the finishes to be like in a home, and having that all detailed out in a contract. That eliminates 99% of any headache that you'll have on a project when you know the homeowner's gone in and said, here's what I want for tile, here's what I want for flooring, here's what I want for carpet, this is what I want the doors to look like, this is what I want the trim to look like, all of it. You go through and make sure that they send all those things to you, so that you can clearly see their expectations, what they want, and you better know how to deliver for them on that end. So making sure before a project started that all of that is spelled out, and that kind of like I was saying, that the homeowners have done their homework. So I know how to put pretty much anything they can throw at me. I know how to put it together and make it look beautiful. But I got to know exactly what they want first. Right. That's probably the number one thing that I've learned that has eliminated 99% of any headaches when it comes to expectations for homeowners.
Nice, man. Yeah, communication is definitely key. And obviously it's best to be on the same page from the start, so you don't waste all this time and then come to find out they're like, oh, you know what, I got someone else that can do it cheaper. I got someone else that can do it how I want it, right? So that communication is probably one of the most important things, I'd say, in just being on the same page, because you don't want to waste your time to come to find out that they don't even want it in the first place, right?
Yep.
Nice, man.
Exactly.
And I know you're like extremely booked up right now. And what's something that you would recommend to someone with an empty calendar, just starting out, wanting to get into the business?
I think number one thing that I could say for people is first figure out your why. Why are you doing what you do? Why do you want to do it? If you take some serious time to reflect and figure that out, that energy that you carry with you of why you're doing what you do is, people have, for lack of a better word, people have bullshit meters. They can tell. People can tell when you're not genuine, when you're not honest.
Very true.
And if you can figure that out, that it's just going to set a solid foundation for you to scale on, to build off of. So figuring out really why you do what you do, and come up with a way to clearly and easily communicate that with people. Like mine is, going back again, we're turning houses into homes, one project at a time.
Nice.
There's a lot of depth to that, but it's really concise. It's really simple. Anybody can understand it. So that, and then I would say, losing my train of thought here. Let's see. 2, I would say, just be obsessed with quality. Don't cut corners anywhere.
Right.
When you can finish a project and a homeowner comes down and they don't have to tell you to fix a single thing, I guarantee you they're going to tell every single one of their friends, this contractor did an awesome job for me. You need to go hire him.
Sure.
Referrals has been 99% of my business over the last 6 years. That's been huge for me. And a thing that I am big on is I try my best every single project to make sure that project is 100% wrapped up and I don't have to go back and fix anything. And over the last 10 to 15 projects I've done, I haven't had a single thing that a homeowner's brought up. They're saying, hey, you need to go fix this after I've been done. That's been a really cool feeling to have. Some homeowners might be a lot more picky than others, and you can't always avoid that. We're not in a business of perfection, but we're in a business of really good quality. Be obsessed with quality, and it's going to get you a long ways.
For sure, man. Yes, I run into some contractors that just want, more leads, more work, and sometimes I feel like they don't focus on the quality over the quantity of jobs that they have or projects. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because sometimes your quality just kind of speaks for you. And then you just kind of look at the homeowner, what do you think? And they're like, wow, like I love it. And they almost are the salesperson when they're in front of someone else that needs what you have. Am I right? They're
Yep.
almost like your salesperson that just gives you everything that, all the referrals and stuff. Like you said, 99% of your business is referrals, and that's because of your quality.
Hmm.
Now, let's say that, would you recommend someone just starting out to kind of take your path of, gain some experience working for someone else, or just kind of do your own thing at first and run into walls and make mistakes? What would you recommend someone just starting out?
Um, I would say if they don't have like, so kind of getting some perspective with that, if they don't have any experience in the construction industry, not going to be a good idea to go off and start your own thing. You're going to fail miserably really quickly, and it's not going to go well. If you're a guy that's had got a few years under your belt, maybe um, learning some different trades, I would first try and fill my schedule with things that I know I'm good at, that I know I can accomplish,
Mhm.
and build upon that with things that I know that are going to challenge me. That's really what I did when I started out. I took on jobs that I knew I could accomplish and deliver a good quality product on. And as I built relationships with homeowners, one, for example, I have one client that has brought me back for 20 plus projects on his multiple properties that he has. It started off with some simple tile jobs for him. Then it turned into remodeling an entire house for him. And then another one turned into putting an addition on a house for him. Things just progressed. I built a good relationship with the homeowner, and each of those bigger projects, as time went on, there was always something I was presented with that I hadn't exactly done before, but I had a lot of experience behind me, and had a lot of good relationships also with other contractors, to where when I got stuck on something, I could lean on them a little bit and bring them in to show me, better how to do things and to accomplish something that was a big obstacle for me. So,
Nice, man. And as far as having like those referral partners, those people that you want to kind of click up with, I mean, besides real
mhm.
estate agents, because we all know real estate agents, right? A lot of people like to team up with them. Besides real estate
Mhm.
agents, who would you say that are amazing referral partners as far as you guys are helping each other? What would you say are some great partners to have in your position?
So coming from a general contractor standpoint, I do my absolute best to build really solid relationships with a few different electricians, a few different plumbers, several guys that do landscaping, um, some really good drywall crews, things like that. I do my best to build relationships with those guys, because all of those guys that are really good at their work, they're out having conversations with homeowners too. And when they're in a specific trade, whether that's plumbing or electrical or drywall,
Mhm.
um, when you have a really good relationship with them and a homeowner asks them, like, hey, do you know someone that can remodel my bathroom for me? The first thing that contractor is going to think of is you, because he has an awesome relationship with you.
Mhm.
I would say that my relationship with other contractors has been more valuable than any relationships I've had with a real estate agent or an investor. Just being able to throw work back and forth to each other, and being able to trust each other that we know we're both going to deliver and do a good job.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes it's more about who you know, right? The connections you have in place, because sometimes
Hmm.
that's going to help you so much, even just starting out, or even in your position that you've already been in the trade for so long that it helps you a lot, I'm sure. Now, for someone that just kind of getting started, that no one knows them, they almost don't even know anyone, what would you recommend that person that's just kind of getting started and wanting to build some connections, what would you recommend them to do as far as that goes?
Really simple term: the more hands you shake, the more money you make. Get out and meet people.
I love that, dude. Nice.
Don't even try and sign a project for like 3 weeks straight. Go out, talk to realtors, go out, talk to contractors, um, hit the phones, call people, say, hey, I'm new, I'm starting out. Um, you have any pictures of some previous work, get those pictures to them, just saying, hey, I'm looking to build some relationships and to grow my company. And just be upfront with people. Don't act like you have it all put together. Just let them know for real that you're starting out and you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to grind, and that you want to take things somewhere. Start building relationships. I truly believe that at the end of the day, any successful business is really at the root of it all. The success comes from relationships that they have with other people. Without good relationships with other people, you're going nowhere in life. Start building relationships right out of the gate, and it's going to get you further than any Facebook ad, any post you make on Instagram. Those things help, but it's really, at the end of the day, it's the relationships that matter.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, I really like what you said as far as the more hands you shake, the more money you make, dude. Dude, you got the slogans, man. I swear.
that one's from my guy Eric McNeil. I can't steal that one. My good friend Eric McNeil.
Okay.
Those are his words, not mine. But
Awesome, man. Well, perfect, man. Now, where can people follow you at if they want to know more about you?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You and I have kind of had a couple conversations about this. I've got goals and dreams I want to build too. I want to be bigger than I am now, even in my own company. And for the last 6-7 years, I've been primarily referral based, and I'm realizing that to grow to where I want to grow to, I need to take these relationships that I have with people and be able to present them on social media and to grow even more, to scale better. So you guys can follow me there, Facebook and Instagram, Jeremy Noble, and see my journey.
Awesome, man.
Going on from here.
You heard it from the man himself. Awesome, man. Any last words you want to leave with us?
Let's see. I would say, end of every day, just make sure you own integrity. There's no amount of money, there's no relationship with anybody that's worth sacrificing your integrity for. Just make sure you own it, and if you do, you're going to keep attracting the right people to your life. Kind of like we said earlier, it's really all about who you know. And when you own integrity, you're going to know a lot of really awesome people, and they're going to help you get really far.
Awesome, man. Well, Jeremy, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for being here. Pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me as well. Appreciate the time.
For sure, man. Take care, brother.
Yeah, see you later.